Unit 6, Lesson 2, Writing, Solving Inequalities, Word Problems work, okay? So first off, we do need to know what these symbols and these words mean, okay? So we have a matching activity here to start. So this is a greater than sign. There's no line underneath it, so it's just greater than, okay? So we're going to match that with just the greater than. Then I'm going to look for, here I see a less than or equal to, so I'll put that here. Boom. The less than will go with just that sign, but with no line underneath it. And then this would be my greater than or equal to, which is over here. Okay, so you just need to know what these signs are, and those should be able to be matched up. And now you just got to think about it when it comes to these other ones. So I have at most. So make a scenario with it. I have at most 5 dishes to wash. That means I have that amount or less. So this should be a less than or equal to. Okay? All right. No more than. I have no more than 2 things to do. Right? So I have no more than 2 things to do. Right? Um, so if I have no more than something, again, I have no more than 5 dishes to wash. Well, again, that would fall in that same category. I have no less than 6 dishes to wash. That means I have 6 or more. I have at least 7 things to do. So that means I have that amount or more. Now notice, where do you get those extra words? They're mainly with the or equal to's, right? And so that's something to think of, okay? And as we move forward, when we're matching these scenarios, right, you got to think about with the or equal to's. So I'm just going to organize these at the top first. Less than or equal to, less than, greater than, greater than or equal to. Okay, so here we go. The bus seats at most 20 people. Okay? All right, so the bus seats at most 20 people. So that means 20 people or less. So that's going to be less than or equal to. Delivery time at most 20 minutes. Again, what does that mean? It means it'll take 20 minutes or less, so less than or equal to. The Panthers need at least 10 points to win the game. That means they need 10 or more, so greater than or equal to. The baby weighed more than 7 pounds. So that means it was above 7, greater than, right? There are less than 10 days of sunlight in winter. That means there's below that amount. So that goes to less than. Your wait time is 5 minutes or less. So that means it's going to be 5 minutes or less than that. So it should again be less than or equal to. Sally needs to score at least a 50 to retake. That means she needs 50 or more. So notice here I'm just matching up these scenarios, right? We gotta know how the words equate to the different situations. So speaking of, let's look here. So I'm just gonna move these to the top. So greater than or equal to, I'm gonna match that with the sign to start. So boom. I kind of reorganize these so I can see a little better. So greater than, here's my greater than symbol. Boom. All right, less than, here's my less than symbol. And then somewhere I got the words, here we go, less than or equal to, less than or equal to. Okay, well this coffee is spilling over, right? So that's a greater than. They're pouring more coffee in the cup than it can hold. All right, what's this say? You must be at least this tall to ride. So you have to be that amount or greater. You must be shorter than this to ride. That means you have to be below that amount. Okay, speed limit 55. Technically, I know a lot of people unfortunately don't do this, but technically that means you should be going 55 or less. So less than or equal to. 5 is greater than 4. That's just a greater than sign. Minimum fine of 250. So that means you're going to get fined 250 or more. So that should fall into the greater than or equal to. Maximum load 500 pounds. That means you could do 500 pounds or less. And then here it says from agent install to mean time to know is in less than 5 minutes. So again, that's a less than. It says the words less than in there. Okay, and as you can see, it tells me my cards are correct, okay? So you really do need to know these key words, right, for less than and for greater than, okay? So with that being said, let's look at a few scenarios here. And what we're really trying to do here in this lesson is know how to make the word problems into an inequality, okay? So Kaylee must receive at least a 95 on her last test in order to get an A. So that means she needs to get a 95 or she can get above that, so greater than or equal to. Right, so she has to get greater than or equal to a 95. the price of a pair of basketball shoes, they're originally 100, but now is on sale. So that means the price that's on sale, so it's below 100, so less than 100, right? Okay, so as you go through these problems, like take a look at them, right? You must be at least 16 years old to have a driver's license. So at least, that means you could be that number or you could be above it, right? So you could be 16 or older to have a driver's license. Children 12 and under may order from the kids menu at the restaurant. So you could be 12 or you could be less than 12, right? So it's just reading the situation, right? Okay, so now let's get to one where we actually write the problem and then we solve it, right? So the width of a rectangular room is 12 feet. Its area is over 170. So the area is over 170. So not equal to, just greater than. Draw a picture. Well, we said it was a rectangular room. We said the area was greater than 170. And then we said that this is 12 feet is the width. And we don't know the length. So there's our situation, right? Now we should know how we find the area of a rectangle, right? Length times width, so 12 times x, which is what you see here. 12x is greater than 170, right? And now it asks us to solve. Well, here this should be a pretty simple scenario because there's only one step to solve, right? We're just going to divide by 12. Divide by 12. So my x is greater than, and to get the 170, I'm just going to go down here, 170 divided by 12. So you see 14 point, and I'm going to round that to one decimal, 14.2. So my x is greater than 14.2. And now I'm going to go in here and rewrite my answers. X is greater than 14.2. Boom. Okay? All right. So then as you go through these other scenarios, read the situation. What's my number here, right? So let's look at this one. And then as you go through these different ones, you need to set it up, and then you need to solve it. So you have to think about, what is my constant? So what is my constant, all right, that I'm being asked to do? So in this problem, what is a guaranteed cost, right? You can spend $15 on pizza, you have $12. Oh, the toppings. So that's where the variable goes. Then once you set up the inequality, do the steps to solve it, okay? And then really for the remainder of this, it's just going through that practice and making sure that you understand and see the situations, okay? For one last example here that we did was screen 18, okay? So it says James wants to rent a car for the day but only has $160. So he has $160. He wants to rent a car. Now, could he spend all his money? Sure, he could spend all his money. But he can't spend more than what he has, right? So let's figure out whether this is going to be greater than or less than, right? It says the rental car company charges $40, so $40 plus a fee of 23, that's a 2, 23 each hour. Well, he can't do more hours than what he can pay for, so this has to be a less than or equal to. How many hours can you rent the car? Well, now we have to do a two-step inequalities to solve. So I'm going to cancel the 40 by minusing 40 on both sides. When I do that, I get 23h less than or equal to 160 divided by 100. Minus 100 minus 40 is 120. I'm going to divide 23. Divide 23. So my h is less than or equal to 120 divided by 23. Okay? And then I'll just go back here so I can use this calculator. 120 divided by 23. So we got 5.2 basically. So now I'm going to go back here and say less than or equal to 5.2. So what does that mean? He could rent the car for up to 5.2 hours. He could spend all his money, right? But it's also less than or equal to. He doesn't have to spend all his money. All right, make sure you complete the rest of these screens to make sure you have that practice with taking the words and writing the inequality. And then you just have to have the same skills we did in lesson 1 to solve. Hope this helps.